Hello and welcome back to Newsline, brought to you by People's TV. This update focuses on the latest developments unfolding across Iran. By January 7th, the demonstrations had extended into their 11th consecutive day. Rather than slowing down, the unrest shows clear signs of intensifying. Footage currently being shown highlights a movement that continues to gain momentum, with public resistance expanding instead of diminishing. Opposition to the clerical leadership remains firm, and each passing day appears to strengthen the resolve of those challenging the ruling establishment. The footage further reveals scenes from the city of Mashhad, where troops sent in to contain the demonstrations are seen pulling back despite being fully armed. Protesters show no signs of fear in the face of weapon-carrying soldiers or live fire. Similar developments are being reported in multiple cities across Iran, pointing to a widening pattern of resistance and a growing inability of security forces to deter the crowds. In the city of Bojnurd, demonstrators are heard chanting with conviction, declaring, "This is our final struggle." The slogans echo a unified demand for complete political transformation rather than limited reforms. Scenes from Bojnurd reflect a determined uprising by ordinary citizens seeking to dismantle what they describe as a tyrannical clerical rule. Protesters are also audibly calling for the return of Reza Pahlavi, signaling a clear rejection of the current leadership and an unmistakable call for regime change. Let us now shift focus to the city of Qom, widely regarded as Iran's religious stronghold. Footage on screen shows large crowds gathering in protest outside the Islamic Azad University in Qom, highlighting the growing unrest even within areas traditionally viewed as strongholds of the clerical establishment. The protests have now engulfed over 100 cities across Iran, with at least 1 million demonstrators taking to the streets. This scale of unrest appears to have caught the Iranian government completely off guard. Globally, the situation is being closely observed, as the world watches with growing curiosity. Considering the determination of the protesters, the government's heavy-handed responses, and the keen attention of the international community, it is difficult to imagine how severely the situation could escalate in the days ahead. Meanwhile, in the city of Neyriz, government forces have reportedly opened fire on protesters using live ammunition. Yet, footage on screen shows demonstrators pressing forward undeterred, steadily confronting and overwhelming the security forces despite the violent crackdown. In Ilam, protesters have reportedly attacked a government-controlled bank, a symbolic move rather than an act of looting. The demonstration appears aimed at expressing frustration over Iran's collapsing economy. Across the city, protesters have targeted government-owned buildings, though such actions carry serious risks, as the authorities could use them as justification for harsher crackdowns. Some demonstrators are even seen carrying arms. Mashhad Pezeshkian, often viewed as a puppet president, has publicly blamed the Ayatollah-led regime for the unrest. Yet he has not issued orders to distinguish between those damaging property and peaceful protesters. He has claimed to serve the public's interests, urging troops to act similarly, but many see this as mere theatrics. Meanwhile, the IRGC remains under direct command of Khamenei and is widely recognized by several nations as a terrorist organization. The chief of staff of the IRGC recently made a statement that directly contradicts the reality on the ground. He acknowledged that protests occur in all countries but claimed that Iran's current demonstrations have escalated to a level incompatible with Iranian culture. The claim is widely viewed as absurd, given that Iran itself has long sponsored, armed, and directed radical Islamic militant groups across the Middle East. Framing terrorism as part of any cultural identity is deeply ironic. The statement also attempts to attribute the unrest to foreign influence, pointing fingers at the United States and Israel, while warning that participants could face harsh repercussions for betraying the nation. Instead of offering solutions to address public grievances, the IRGC chief relied on intimidation and threats. He went further to echo warnings to the US and Israel, recalling his predecessors who were eliminated during Iran's 12-day standoff with Israel. He asserted that, unlike those predecessors, Iran is now prepared for retaliation, claiming the military is ready to respond immediately to any attack. However, those previous leaders had made similar claims and were neutralized within the first 15 minutes of conflict, highlighting the hollow nature of such proclamations. Overall, these statements underscore that Iran's ruling elite continues to repeat the same mistakes, prioritizing posturing and external blame over addressing the underlying causes of widespread public dissent. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator Lindsey issued a strong warning, stating that President Trump will take decisive action against Ayatollah Khamenei if the regime continues targeting and killing protesters. This type of statement is unusual for Senator Graham, a seasoned and respected lawmaker who has earned the trust of the American public and rarely speaks impulsively. He added that if the protesters succeed in freeing Iran from what he described as the oppressive, Nazi-like rule of the corrupt clerical regime, It will represent a historic victory for the region and have profound global significance. In another video circulating from the nationwide unrest, protesters appear to be openly expressing their views toward the United States and Israel. In one striking clip, a demonstrator is seen affixing a symbolic sign renaming a street in Tehran after U.S. President Donald Trump, reflecting gratitude for his warnings to Tehran not to violently suppress demonstrators. Other footage shows handwritten messages and appeals directly addressed to Trump, with slogans such as "Don't let them kill us," indicating that some protesters are urging outside intervention similar to U.S. actions in other countries. These gestures have become one of the most shared symbols of resistance amid the expanding demonstrations and government crackdown across Iran. Meanwhile, Abbas Araghchi is traveling in Lebanon, prompting questions about why he is abroad while Iran faces widespread civil unrest. We will continue to provide updates on this developing story as more information becomes available. If this report helped you see the situation on the ground clearly, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe to People's TV, where truth has no agenda, and facts speak louder than spin.
Subscribe us for more details.